what I had done was I decided to run a TRT dose, which is 200 milligrams of testosterone cypionate weekly, 500 milligrams of primobolan, which doesn't aromatize. And then in addition to that, I was taking a milligram of anastrozole every week, and I was taking 50 milligrams of Winstrol. You know, what ended up happening was I basically got like mono, where I needed to take a nap every like 30 minutes. I just could not stay awake. And I was like that for a couple of weeks. Normally I'm pretty smart or calculated with how I do, you know, my cycles. But this was kind of an opportunity. It was like, I've never truly crashed my estrogen to the point that some people, you know, talk about. And so I wanted to kind of experience that for myself. You get smarter over time, you know, with training. And then you're like, all right, now we're actually focusing on, you know, how's the muscle contracting? How is the movement occurring? Do I need this much weight? What happens when I cut it in half? Can I still get the same type of a burn?
He's Mr. Review, not a doctor. All numbers. 14 years of lifting experience, 8 years of PHAAS use, specializing in making TRT less complicated and breaking down gatekeeping BS in the industry. Please help me welcome T Gro. How are you, bro?
Yeah, I'm great. Thanks for having me. That's an excellent intro. It sounds a little familiar, but yeah, it's all true.
It's all true. Yeah, it's so true. It's so true. Look, I kind of T Gro, but is that what's your real name?
It's Ty. So
Ty.
It's just a combination of the first and the last name. It stuck with me through all high school, and you know, just so happens that I ended up getting on testosterone and growing. So for some reason it just worked. But before, when I was a fat bitch or I was skinny, like it was just T Gro still. So just
okay. Well, I like it. So Ty, and your surname is it Gro?
Yeah, Gro. Yeah, and that's about as far as we'll go from there. Considering.
All right, no worries. Let's look. So let's start with your training. It all started at 18, which you call your official. And that was you going 5 days a week to the gym. Well, explain the start. Was it training or was it a wing and a prayer? Explain to us 5 days a week. So you started at 18. What were you doing?
So I honestly, the reason why I say 18 is just because I don't count anything before that. Like I had no idea what I was doing, right?
What were you doing before that? Tell us
training.
What were you doing before that? Yeah, what were you doing?
X with Tony Horton because I had realized that I was fat. One day I kind of came home from a basketball game. I love my parents, love my dad to death.
Good.
He was basically like, if you cannot run for more than like 10 minutes consecutively, like I'm not coaching basketball next year. So I was like, okay, I'm fat. Started getting in shape, doing P90X. And that's kind of when I fell in love with fitness overall. Got a very hard manual labor job when I was about 16, 17, and then just continued to lift from there and really fell in love with it. And then, come 18, I was in the gym, not even 5 days a week. It was 7 days a week. And probably one of my biggest mistakes early on was just always being in the gym, never taking a day off, being there for 3-4 hours if I could be. It's like, you know, on Christmas Day, I'd be upset because it's like, I can't go to the gym today. And it was kind of an mindset. But definitely fell in love just watching, you know, like back in the day, like CT Fletcher and seeing what those guys could do and just the amount of weight that they're putting forward and just being freaks of nature. It was like, man, I want to be that guy.
What was it called? PDX? What was it called? Did you call it?
P90X.
P90X. What's that? What's P90X? Yeah.
That didn't make it to Australia?
No, mate.
Okay, P90X with Tony Horton. It was basically like 9 DVDs, and they were all these individual workouts of like plyometrics, yoga, and then you had like a chest day, an arms day. A lot of it was like pull-up centric, you know, calisthenic movement. And Tony Horton was the guy who kind of led these workouts and really started this kind of craze of like getting these at-home DVD workouts. And so P90X, the whole goal around it was 90 days of training. So I don't even remember in 98, like P90X, they had a stretch day, but you never had a day off. And so maybe that's where I started my mentality of like, let's work out every day. But I cannot believe P90X didn't make it over there. I thought that was just a worldwide phenomenon.
Nah, man, no. I think they just kept Arnold in the face of everything. It was the Arnold rule book, the Arnold of everything. But tell me, you mentioned something about your dad. I mean, and I'm a dad, you know, and yeah, I guess I envy, not because I don't have it. My kids, 20 and 17, and trust me, they like me one week and they don't like me the next. Actually, they like me less each time they get older for some reason. What is it about your dad and that inspiring you to get fit?
Like my dad is, just to be honest, he's like the picture perfect, vision of masculinity, like blue worker. Just like the man is a blue collar worker, paints houses, but he does it by himself, right?
Yep.
So just backbreaking work day in, day out, gets up before the sun raises, and then he's at home at like 8 o'clock at night, just working constantly. And so I grew up with a profound respect for him of just what he does for us and our family. The amount of hard work he puts in. And so I wanted to emulate that. I wanted to be like that. And one of the times that we really spent together was he coached our basketball team. So when he told me, basically, he's like, hey, you need to get in shape to play basketball or we're not doing this. I put forth everything I could in order to make sure that was going to happen.
Wow.
I had to have that time with him, but respected the hell out of him.
That's amazing. It was funny. I'll tell you a funny story quickly. I coach soccer, right? So I coach soccer, and sometimes my son didn't like it that he was in the team and I was the coach, right? And I had to really realize I didn't want to always pin it on my son. His name's Yanni. But anyway, the one thing he liked about me was, I guess, the savage in me, right? And I remember one time I was on the sideline and these two coaches were telling me off. And I turned to them and I think I was giving it back to him. And I think the goalkeeper said to my son on the field, your dad, he's over there with these two blokes. They're arguing with him. And he looked over to me and looked at the goalkeeper and said, they're outnumbered.
Yep.
Yeah, so I kind of, I suppose we're setting a bit of an example to our kids. So, all right, so then I guess you, look, you know what? Because this is this podcast is to touch on not just us that are in the game or love the game, but people that are on the other side looking. And probably there is a fat kid. Probably there is a skinny kid. What I mean is, how did you feel and how did you break that boundary of that? Because you called it a fat kid and I was a fat kid, and sometimes that fat kid never leaves us. It is always around that fat kid, Go on.
100%. Like I think there is, to an extent, there is like genetic weight where, you're kind of born as an endomorph where you put on weight a lot quicker than others, but you might also put muscle on others. So like you have some type of an advantage in having an endomorph body type where very early on in my training, I was able to push weight that a lot of people couldn't. So I think like, to those that might be listening and struggling with their weight now, like there is some advantage behind it that they might not have realized yet. And there's a lot of power in unlocking that. For myself, just kind of when I realized that, I'm heavy, it was more of a vanity thing where I just figured out like, I don't think girls are going to like me if I look like this. I don't think
it's always vanity.
And that's how it starts with a lot of people and a lot of the kids that are in the gym now. That's what they're going for. They're either small and they're trying to get big, or they're big and they're trying to get small.
If you like your numbers, 99.9% of them, mate. It's all about your vanity. It's all about your ego. Like why else would you go and want to have a bicep, or even a girl wanting to, have a good gluteus, booty. Yeah. Whatever they're doing now is everyone's, you're doing it for you and you're hoping that some people notice. But predominantly we're talking about the fat kid. We all don't like that. We're pushing through something, aren't we?
Yeah, exactly. And early on, that might have been what started me to, do P90X or start getting into like a Planet Fitness. But you got to, like, you realize pretty quickly, like, okay, this vanity thing is not going to take me very far. This is not going to motivate me. And also, meanwhile, like, you're getting more compliments from the dudes than you are from the ladies. And if anything, you're just withdrawing your social life and, you know.
Oh, you know what's worse?
Yourself out there.
What's worse is when they say to you, hey, you looked bigger last year. You go, oh, no, what have I done?
Yeah. Hey, you're looking pretty big. And it's like, I'm on a cut right now. You're looking pretty small. And it's like, I'm on a bullet. Like,
what happened?
It's always the wrong thing. Just say, hey, you're looking really fit. And you'll hit 100% of the time.
Hey guys, Steve here from Muscle Talks. I just want to say thank you for you guys being here. Thank you for watching this podcast. What I'd really love is for you guys to hit the subscribe button. Why hit the subscribe button? It will just allow us to have a bigger reach, allow us to go get a bigger audience, and also bring you the best of the best here. Our goal here is to not only get our local people, but also international, and eventually, and hopefully, and will be bringing the Olympians to this station, Muscle Talks podcast. So please hit the subscribe button and also hit the notification bell, so every time our podcast is launched weekly that you get notified and you can sit back and enjoy this. Thanks, guys.
Have you also noticed, even though you don't say to anyone, because I can see the way you look, but even myself, and I'm not in complete shape at the moment, but have you ever noticed that we might meet a stranger and you'll sit down and you'll go to them, you know, how's your job? And they'll tell you, and they'll ask you, how's your, and before you know it, they start talking about fitness, because I think they're looking at you, and before you know it, you didn't even bring up the subject. They're going, yeah, I go to the gym and I eat healthy, and you go like, where did this come from? And suddenly we're talking about training and you didn't even bring the topic up. Have you noticed that?
You sit down to eat something and it's like they order the Diet Coke and they're like, yeah, I'm also watching my weight. I wasn't talking about that at all. Like, they were here to talk about a job interview or something like that. And they're like, you know, I'm thinking about getting some dumbbells. Have you heard?
Yeah.
Some pizza. They're like, well, okay, sure.
Everybody, yeah, you're right. You'll go like, all right, you know what, I might get, you sit with them and you go, look, it's even your offset. You go, you know, I might get a schnitzel. And they go, you know what, I'm going to get a salad. And you go, why are you getting a salad for?
Yeah.
I'm thinking of getting fit. I'm thinking of exercising. So it makes me laugh that I think our body or our attitudes presume that we are some kind of experts and you're only allowed to be on the same mission as us, like whatever it is.
Exactly. Yep.
So it's quite funny. So, all right, so you got into the 90, whatever workout that was. And you mentioned prior, so that's when I guess you started a routine, 5 days, where you were having maybe some rest days, you were understanding it a little bit more. And you mentioned that you did basketball, exercise, your dad. But 14 years now, you're 32, I'm assuming, 32?
Yep, 32.
Yeah, 32. You know, what's changed? What keeps changing? And explain your workout now and your days off.
Well, I'm 32. That's what's changed.
That's what's changed, yeah?
my body does not recover the same way that it used to.
Right, yes.
I realized that, you know, it's funny, like my training style from 18 to 25 was like, how heavy can we make this bar and make it move, right? It was like, let's PR bench, let's PR on squat and deadlift. Let's lift the heaviest amount. That's all we cared about, was like, just make the heaviest amount move.
Yep.
And you start getting older and you're like, fuck, my wrist hurts, or my elbow hurts, or my shoulder's starting to bug me. Like, what's going on? And so like you get smarter over time, you know, with your training. And then you're like, all right, now we're actually focusing on, you know, how's the muscle contracting? How is the movement occurring? Do I need this much weight? What happens when I cut it in half? Can I still get the same type of a burn? So, you know, from then to now, my training has gone from, let's just go balls to the wall for, you know, 3 hours, to, hey, let's do, you know, 8-9 exercises, 3 sets of pop, 8 reps of pop, and we're just going to go slow on the concentric, and then we're going to really focus on that time under tension. And I don't care if it's a 20-pound dumbbell. I don't care if it's a 40-pound. We're just going to do what feels right. So,
yeah, don't you think, though, as well, turning, you can, again, like I said, both of us, because you could tell, we'll clarify everything, that you're not a personal trainer, I'm assuming, or maybe you are, I don't know. But the thing is, do you think both of us, 30, don't you think 30 is a real peak age for muscle and your body? Everything just starts to, like, if you do it right, it's actually, this is the moment. Like, I think you don't get another shot at this. This is your, I won't call it the final. What I'm saying is this is the peak. If you haven't climbed that mountain right now, this is the bit you can use to go to the next mountain. But if you don't, you've missed the point. Am I right in saying that? 30s?
Yeah,
absolutely.
30s.
Yeah.
In like internally, like there's just an hourglass in my head where it's like the sand is pouring out. I know my time is coming where I'm going to be on the downslope. I'm already on the downslope. I'm 32.
No, you're not.
For me, I burnt myself out really early. Like I was working out at 14, 16. I was doing 7 days a week, 18, all the way up to 25, 26. I really didn't start taking rest days until 2 years ago.
Wow.
It was 7 days until about 2 years ago. So
don't worry, man. Look, I'm 54, and I can tell you, I think you're right. We're running a universal training program in our 20s. Don't worry, it's the same universal program.
Yeah, and that's kind of one of the things that I hope to teach the younger people is just like, you do not need to be in the gym 7 days a week. You're not here to be doing all this crazy shit. Like, there's a way to train smart and safe, but all I see nowadays are kids doing deadlift on TikTok and Instagram. Like,
I have to, guys. But I think, you know what, I'm gonna like I said to you, I've listened to my other podcast. I think just shut the fuck up, Steve. But I'll say something. I got a feeling, and we keep hearing it, and like I said, we're making it also a bit soft. I'll tell you, you tell me what you did in your early 20s, and I'm, like I said, 2 decades older than you, but people would say to me, how long were you in the gym for? And I go, I don't know, maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours. But I said, when I trained chest and I smashed chest, I sat down for 10 minutes, 15 minutes just to recoup. I didn't go jump out on biceps straight. I wasn't running out of the gym. I mean, there was nothing to run out to, right? So I'd go sit down. I'd probably get a banana out. I'd eat a banana and sit there with my mate. And they'll go, all right, you ready to smash tries? And we'll go smash tries. But this is the thing. When I finished, then I had a mate that just turned up and said, can you hang around to spot me for half an hour? And I did. So I just spotted him for half an hour. So that's why gyms were, I think everyone's misinterpreting the hour to 2 hours. We actually it was kind of everyone was a team effort in there. Everyone was, man, bro, I'll spot you. And I don't think, I don't know about you, but there's a few kids I've been spotting lately. And, to be honest, they're at failure and their mates are on their phones. And I said, mate, this guy needs a spot. You need to spot this guy. You know what I mean? Like, he can't get the bench, he can't get the press up. Can someone help?
Like, so you're going to have to text that guy if you want to get your bar on the neck.
Yeah. So I'm like thinking, it was like mandatory. Hey, mate, can you spot me? Yeah. Excuse me, mate, can you spot me? They came over. Like, everybody, it was kind of like a gym etiquette. You spotted. It wasn't just training. So I guess we're trying to make it easy for them, but I think they've got to learn that, boys, all right, like, everyone's deadlifting. How about you just try to sit and watch each other do the bench and maybe spot each other two spots or 2 lifts and get him and load down or whatever you need to do. But like I said, it's all.
And if you could find a gym like that where people are spotting each other and there's a community, that's like that is the best thing in the world. It will bring you to the gym every single day. Even on the days that you don't feel like it, you still show up.
Success lives in powerful bodies. And the powerful bodies are fueled by the best.
threeog.shop.
You were saying it'd be great to find a gym that allowed that went back to that old school mentality. Is that right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like, just if you can find a gym that has that mentality of, or just that community of people where they all come together and, support each other. So, like, I've got that gym now, which is kind of a new experience for me, or I've kind of helped kind of create that gym, honestly, where, everybody's willing to talk to each other just in short bursts. We're not dialed into our headphones, our phone, there to support everybody. I got a couple of kids that are about 10 years younger than me chasing those dreams of benching 3 plates or squatting 4 plates. So I'm there to cheer them on or give them a spot, whatever they need. But, you know, your point about the phones, it's like there are so many people either dialed into their phones, and if it's not in their hand, it's on a tripod, right? And they're recording themselves trying to be an influencer or whatever they're doing. Attention. Meanwhile, they have an opportunity to get attention or, you know, make a human connection with the people that are surrounding them, right? And so they're trying to get this connection from people outside the world, when if you just pick your head up and look around, there's a lot of people who'd be more than happy to get to meet you and get to know you, you know, and make a difference in their life. So, yeah.
Well, I also feel that, you know, people, like you just said something about headphones. I actually like the sound of the gym. I don't want to put I like the sound of dumbbells clanking and the music in the background. I like the noise. I don't know. I don't want to hone in. It's kind of like it's the whole sensory thing I enjoy.
Yeah, it's the Katy Perry or whatever else that they're playing over the radio that like I can't do. If it was just an empty gym, I mean, if it was just a dead quiet gym, you know, with no music going off, but just the dumbbells and the metal and the people, you know, grunting, like I might be able to be okay with that. I mean, I've seen, you know, videos of gyms, you know, back in the 60s and 70s where that's what it was, right? And just people dialed into their workout, you know.
No television, not even music. No television, no music, man. It was just, and grunting. But I go to a good gym, and I should give them a plug. It's called Hardcore, and they are very old-fashioned. Their TV screens only play bodybuilding events and boxing and martial arts, and their music is heavy hitting, and every ounce of their wall has motivational tips, like quotes from people, just everything. I mean, even down some of their pillars, it says, don't smoke. Another one says, don't stress. Other one says, be kind. Like, the whole gym is just masked with words everywhere. It's quite good, you know? So I find it
pretty awesome.
It is. Now tell us, is 400 pounds still your biggest bench?
It's 435. That's what I got up to for just a 1 rep max.
Well, yeah, but the other one was 3 reps, mate. 400 was 3, apparently.
Oh, 405 for 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably, I think 405 for 3 was probably the highest 3 rep that I've done. But 435 for a single, and then, you know, when you start...
How many kilos? How many kilos? How many kilos is that?
435?
Yeah.
It's like 198.
Oh, wow.
I don't know off the top of my head, but I actually just started getting into kilos recently because the gym that I have actually has kilos instead of pounds.
Well, it must be an Aussie gym.
Yeah, not quite. It'd be a little too far of a commute for me.
What about
the fucking spiders? I swear, if I saw a spider, the Australian spider anywhere in that gym, dude.
There was this a friend of mine, his name is Liam. He was posting, like he was on a walk, and then I think his motivational quote stopped, and he said, I had to battle a spider that I went through with spider web. And I thought to myself, and I said, who won? And I knew this spider had to be about that big, right? It was probably that big. And I jokingly, like the fishing stories, I said it was the size of a wild boar, wasn't it? It was like you had to wrestle this thing down. Man, we have so many critters. It's not funny, man. It's not funny.
Yeah.
500-pound squat. Is that 4 reps? Is that still a record?
Yeah, still a record. Like, my squat's gone down, just lower back stuff. But like today, I didn't train legs in like a week, and today I did 450 and some change for 3 reps. So I felt pretty good about that, you know.
Well,
I'm training too hard.
I think I've been watching you for the last maybe 6 months, and I've got to say you've put on a bit of size, and you're not sponsoring you had a moustache for a little while. You had a mo. What happened to the mo?
I knew I wasn't gonna be able to top yours, so it had to go.
Yeah, no, man. I tell you what, this one's one slight mistake, man, and then it's gone. You probably did a slight mistake, didn't you? You fucked up, didn't you? Is that true?
Yeah, I fucked up by growing it. Yeah.
Actually, it suited you, man. All right, so what we got here is 32, 229 pounds, 6 foot, 11.8 body fat, 118 pounds of muscle. Man, I love numbers, but man, what the fuck with all these numbers? What's with all the numbers, you know? What's going on? Is it numbers don't lie?
Yeah, numbers don't lie, absolutely. So like,
They don't lie, do they?
my workouts are all my workouts are tracked. You know, the one thing that I can't refute is if the weight is going up or the reps are going up or the number of sets are going up, then I'm progressing, right? That's definitely a progressive overload. So yeah, I'm a very big believer in the numbers. There's something to be said about just going to the gym and just doing what you feel like. I totally think that, you know, there's space for that. But if you want to be diligent in how you progress, numbers are never going to lie.
Well, I think I have a saying, and I always said it's the universal language, and everything around you and me is a number, and you know it's actually a good plug to go into my pre-workout. So I'll have my pre-3OG. I'll do what do they call it? They call it what do they call it? Dry scoop. I do a dry scoop. But what I mean is, what I'm getting at is, Ty, is you're born 0 and you die a number. You've got a weight, clothing size, every number of hair on your body, to the size of your foot, to the size of your shoe. Like, what I'm getting at is numbers are everywhere. It's just unstoppable. And your house is built on a certain block of land. Your house is a certain, you know, everything is a number. So know your numbers, and I think you'll make a dry scoop time, mate. Apparently all the influencers are doing this, man. It's the influencers. I'm trying to be the influencers.
See, that's
Apparently.
fucking up, man. You shouldn't
Why?
follow what an influencer tells you what to do.
That's true.
Some of them are wrong. That's a number for you.
Mate, you know what? We've just now we're going to get 1 million views and a few hates, and that's what I love. That's what we need. That's all I needed for somebody finally.
I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to teach people, okay?
Yeah. So why? Oh, no. I'll save that question. All right. So where are you from? Where in America?
I'm from Kansas, from the Midwest.
Midwest. And did you grow up there?
Yeah. Grew up in Kansas.
So sell us Kansas. If I was to, you know, like if you were the tourist commissioner or the tourist, sell it to us. I'm planning on coming to Kansas. Why should I?
I don't know if I can sell you on Kansas, to be honest.
Okay.
But it's 20 minutes no matter where you want to go. The wind is usually about 20 miles an hour. We have 40-degree swings every day. So it's the only state that I believe you can experience like winter, fall, spring, and summer in the same day.
Well, sounds like a Cancerian person. That's star sign is Cancerian.
We have no coast to regulate the climate. There's no lakes around here. There's really nothing to do, but it is a wide open space. It's quiet. It's quiet.
Wow.
It's quiet. So that's pretty much why I like it. Is it's not crowded. It's quiet. You can get some land and kind of be left alone. And so that might have been my personality 5 or 6 years ago, where it was like, man, I'd love to just be left alone. But now that I've kind of figured out how to come out of my shell a little bit, you know, with just some progressing in mental health, you know, it's not quite me anymore, but still, I enjoy the serenity of little Kansas.
Well, I guess we all got the saying, we're not in Kansas anymore, so we all use that. We're all around the world. Isn't that from Dorothy, Wizard of Oz?
Anymore.
Is there a reason why we're not in Kansas? We're not in Kansas anymore. You just, look, you know what? Because you said the word, what do you mean by mental health, maturing mental health? What does that mean?
I just think that, you know, a lot of people who go to the gym, myself included, they're doing that for something other than maybe the health aspect. Usually it's like not like the, I guess, your body health. It's more like a mental health where like you need that serotonin release on a regular basis. It's the only way that you can find it, or maybe it's how you push yourself, or maybe how you justify, you know, some of the things that you've been earned in life. Like I personally started going to the gym. I was like, I need to have something in my life that's challenging because I'm not deserving of what I have. And so in a way, it was kind of like punishing myself. But
why not deserving? I don't understand. Like, I mean, I'm not. You don't look like. What do you mean? Like, again, people are listening. I'm just asking the question. What do you mean by deserving? What were you deserving? What did you have that you shouldn't have?
it's just a great childhood, just
Okay.
being raised in the middle of America with a great family. You never have these crazy money concerns. A lot of people just have it so much worse. And you're like, man, when is the fucking hammer going to drop in my life? And I'm not sitting here saying that my life is great by any means.
No.
But with what I was, born and raised with, I feel like, man, I got off so easy. How do I kind of serve my penance for, this awesome foundation that I've been given? So it started off as like I'm unworthy. As you start to just kind of build like self-love, you start to realize it's okay to be happy with where you are and what you're given. And so the gym taught me that.
Well, I guess, I guess what you're trying to say is, you feel grateful and at the same time guilty that you're not contributing something back, and now you're trying to give something back, I guess, or do your part. So I like that. That's let's go. That's very, like I said, it's some people have, like you said, mental health because of abuse, but what you're trying to say is also the fact you felt privileged and probably seeing people around you struggle as well. You're wondering, where do you fit in with all that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Finding your purpose in life, struggling with mortality, just things like that.
Yeah.
So many ways the gym can help a person. And I really do believe that somebody is struggling with mental health. If they can set foot in the gym, a few days a week, it will change their life over time. They just need to give it that opportunity.
And tell me, like I said, I'm still trying to get over all the numbers and, like I said, firstly, I don't want to, like I said, it's great that you've looked at your rewards, or the people that have done you well, which is family and the things that mean a lot to you. And what you're trying to do is bring yourself to that table and have your offerings of thanks. That's what I'm thinking. Yep. It is, and I think that's always good to do that. So let's let's talk about bodybuilding now. Let's really get into it. First and foremost, I want to talk about natural first. Natural. What's your recommendation on natural? What is it like? Go on, guys, protein powder and come on, pre-workout, or, eat this, do this if you're not doing this first. Because I believe, and hear me out first, and you mentioned John Torelli, and I've mentioned a few people. I don't think anyone should touch anything until you've exhausted all avenues of your natural self, meaning that you go to the gym, you put in the work, you're eating well, you're sleeping well, you got a good mindset, you've got a career, whatever. I think everything needs, with bodybuilding, you need to reach, you need to hit the roof with it. And then from that point, you can actually go and explore. Do you tend to agree with that?
Absolutely, 100%. For one, if you're not in a good mental state, you think that jumping into gear or some type of a, enhanced substance is going to be the key difference for you to get over whatever it is you're trying. You're in for a world of hurt. So I'm probably somebody who toes that line of you probably shouldn't mess with gear because you have opportunity with your diet. You probably have opportunity with your training. So, being a enhanced athlete, it's you're missing out on a lot of things that you could hit on before you need to come into the world of anabolics, pro hormones, those types of things.
100%. Yeah.
I spent a lot of time talking with the younger generation, that they're so exposed to like steroid abuse like that's going on, which I get why people do it, but when you're influencing the minds of young kids and they're 16, 17 and they're not confident in their body, they're not happy with their results because they're just they're just starting. They don't understand what they're doing at the gym. They don't understand how much their diet impacts them, and they think, hey, if I take trend, I'm gonna look like this guy. Right?
Yeah.
You got to talk them off the ledge and be like, kid, you're not ready for that. You're not even ready for testosterone. You have no idea what it's going to do to you. And so, yes, 100%. The first thing I'm telling people is like, what's your training look like? What does your diet look like? What does your recovery look like?
Yeah.
How do you supplement around that? Okay.
Yeah.
If all four of those things are great, then okay, maybe you can start considering that if this is something that you plan to pursue as like a professional career, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, that's pretty much where it is because, my experience, there's probably a lot of regret as well as like, I'm glad I had my experience, but I'm sure at some point I will pay a price. I will pay a toll for the things that I've done.
Possibly. But if I could ask you, before we get into, because that's why I've got you on. I feel like you're very knowledgeable, and we've got a bit more to discuss. But like, what's a good natural supplements? Like, what I'm asking you is, I'm going to throw things out there. Like, is there liver tablets? Is there iron tablets? Is there this? Is there that? What would you recommend is really good to help you train, but like that you feel you could go to your health food store or your whatever it is? What would you recommend?
Yeah, as far as just like the over-the-counter, like fish oil is something that you have to have.
Fish oil, right? Go on.
D3 is something like people are deficient in vitamin D. Everyone is pretty much. So vitamin D3 is absolutely critical. And really like, maybe get your standard multivitamin if you can find it in a capsule instead of a hard pressed pill. Yeah, you're gonna boost your absorption rate of that from like 30 to 97%.
Wow!
But if you really just have your protein, okay, your macros in check, or you do like 2 scoops of whey protein before you go into the gym. That way you have something for your body to be using as you're working out.
I tend to agree. I think some people like forget, again, because firstly, thank you for sharing that, and we're going to keep going with it. But back in the old days, we didn't go to the gym on an empty stomach. It wasn't that we went full. It wasn't about going like fucking eating a pasta before we went in. But an hour before, we'd say like, man, we better carb up or we better eat something. And sometimes even myself now, when I take a pre-workout, let's just say, I actually do it with the protein. Because I'm destroying muscle that moment. I might as well have protein in my body to start repairing while the destroying's happening. I don't think anyone understands that it's not like you destroyed it and you go home and you're like, oh, now I'll take the protein because the body knows it. You can have the protein straight after, but you can have it with a pre-workout, and you actually, I think, you're having the benefit of training. You've got the proteins going on. You've got some carbohydrates in there as well. I think you need it. As a car needs it in a racetrack, it needs petrol, needs petrol during the race. It needs obviously to be re-topped up later to get home.
Yep, 100%. Like I think to your point, it's a little too late, especially if you're going to the gym empty tank. Yeah, start putting in the work in. Like that's my my teenager years working out, where it's like I just think if I tear down the muscle, it's gonna put itself back together. You need a fuel in there. You need a source. So like, think about the point of all of this is you're really just wanting to deliver nutrients to the locations that you're trying to grow intentionally, right? You're pushing the blood to the bicep by getting a pump by doing the curls. So you better have some protein in there. So when the blood starts pooling into the bicep, you're actually delivering those nutrients in there. And then if you can incorporate your insulin's response with it as well, including like a dextrose shake, or all the kids walking around with Sour Patch Kids. It should be gummy bears. It should be gummy bears, but they're doing Sour Patch Kids nowadays. Being able to manipulate that in order to push the actual nutrients into the targeted muscle group, that's where you can actually get growth and get results.
Yeah, I again, excuse me, I do see you, like I said, you seem to have the old school mentality. You're quite young though, and you probably got a bit of the old school body on you as well. But like I said, I just never knew bodybuilding that the word starvation was in it, or fasting. It was never a word shared around. No one said, don't eat, don't eat, don't eat, don't eat. It was like, even before bed, you'd want to rest with some food in your stomach to build muscle while you're lying there. Like, I don't know. Like I said, I'm sure there's professionals and PhDs and scientists and say whatever. But I think bodybuilding. I think was it your post that said, or no, it was our previous guy, Peter Hartwig. An Olympic rowing team will get all the data you want to make sure you are one of the best Olympic rowers. But when you come to bodybuilding, we don't have the data. Like we seem to not want to use all that data. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, absolutely. There's still a lot of feel to it and a lot of just anecdotal, hand-me-down information. And I think that's where everything gets misconstrued, because there's, bodybuilding it's an individual sport, right? You're competing against everyone else. And it's an exercise that you do before you compete. So it's the pre-work that you're putting in, right? Well, fuck, if you have the answer to the test that's gonna make you win the competition, are you gonna hand that out to your competition? No.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't. Right? So I don't think we're actually getting, what you're trying to say is we're not getting all the information, are we?
No, not at all. No, there's a lot of people out there that have the answers and they don't want to tell you because they don't want to see you succeed like they will.
I get it now. So what you're trying to say is, if I said to you, T Gro, I've got a good tip for you, and you go, what is it, Steve? I said, don't eat today, buddy. That's how I grow. And I go away.
I'm unlocking a lot of growth hormone when I'm fasting, and then I go work out. Yeah, that's the type of shit that you hear, and you look around, everybody's listening to it, nobody's growing, right?
And everybody's look, I don't want to get into it because we just started the podcast this year. I want to get into 2024 without being shut down by everyone, but I want to save the dieting for 2024. I'll get into dieting in 2024, especially when everyone's comparing Tim Tams, and you're allowed to eat 300 Tim Tams as long as you stay under 2,000 calories. And fuck, all right, I'll eat Tim Tams all day. Oh, you don't have Tim Tams? Do you have Tim Tams? All right, no, it's Jesus. Oh, it's two biscuits with chocolate in the middle. Let's go with something American. Let's go with a Twinkie. You know Twinkies?
Yeah.
You know Twinkies?
Yeah.
So imagine if I said to you, calories. So listen, T Gro, look, you just got to have the calories. Eat Twinkies all day, 2,000 calories only, and go train. Now, I'm sure you'll build with it.
I've heard people push similar narratives. Like,
I think myself,
it's wild.
It's wild that I could have Twinkies and grow as long as I keep it under 2,000 calories. Oh, God.
Yeah. All right. You've seen it out there where it's like the one influencer comes out with the exercise that is optimal training. You go to the gym the next day, there are 10 broccoli heads. They're all doing the same thing. They're all doing the same workout because they all saw the same video and they think this is the key. Guess what? It's not.
I tell you what, I think training is, and again, you can correct me, you're younger, but training is quarterly. Whatever you've done for the last 12 weeks, you could change it now because the body doesn't like it anymore. Like, meaning it likes it, but now it's saying, what else are you going to give me? So you change your routine, you change your diet a bit, in other words, you've got to constantly be challenging your body and your mindset. It's never like just, this is what I did for the last 12 months. It's always, I think, about changing every 12 weeks. Like, you know what? I did hammer curls. We're not doing hammer curls for the next 12 weeks. We're going to try this out. Or hammer curls every second week now. Or whatever it is. It's a constant mathematical equation. Don't you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. I think variety is the key to unlocking a lot of this stuff too. So for me, it's 12-week workout plans. I go evaluate my progress, and then I'm like, okay, I didn't like this. I didn't like how we grew with this, or this didn't feel good, or I got injured doing this, so I'm going to switch over to this type of, an exercise. And then it's like, it's like you move the needle so far, and then you go to this new exercise, which is essentially the same thing, and then you drop it back down, and then you got to continue to work your way up. So it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back sometimes. But it all leads.
No. That's why, like I said, and the great thing is we use, which is true, but it's not an excuse. We always go, thank God for muscle memory. Muscle memory. But I think it's just as soon as you touch those weights, when you've had a month off or 2, you feel like you're home. That feels so good. Just the bench press feels amazing. So before we get into the real enhancers and your experience in that area, your last post said, what is optimal for performance and what is optimal for lifestyle? Explain that.
Yeah. Just there's a lot of misconception around TRT, testosterone replacement therapy.
Yeah.
And, the people on the outside looking in, they're just assuming that these guys are just blasting gear and they've got this crazy, competitive advantage over everybody else. But meanwhile, like TRT, the main thing is it's supposed to replace a natural hormone in your body. So I think in the industry and like currently what's happening is TRT doctors are prescribing super physiological levels beyond what a natural can have, which is kind of where this, misconstrued, point comes from. But if you're running at a natural level, 600, 800 nanograms per deciliter, so that's like 28 nmol, I think. I don't know what the Australian measurement system type is, but basically, if you're running it at a normal level, you can do that and have very little to no maintenance. You're not having to manage estrogen side effects. You're not having to donate blood because your blood's not getting too thick. You're not having to run a statin because your cholesterol is, going the wrong direction. But what generally happens is people are running 2x times the dose they need, and then they're having to manage estrogen. They're having to donate blood. Their, red blood cell count's getting too high, or, their HDL is starting to lower. So, I think there is a fine line between their TRT and having a lifestyle TRT, and then, actually using it for performance improvement.
Or, since we're going to segue into that, if you don't mind, because I'll be honest with you, and I did, I'm 54, I said, and I have done a cycle. I did a cycle when I turned 50. Never done a cycle before, right? So I did steroids, I did all that. And, to be honest, I'm so grateful. I love it. I love that I got to see that aspect. And it's not to say that I wouldn't give it a go again, but I think I just put the pedal to the metal and I just didn't know what I was doing. I wasn't talking, like, basically I was, like everything, I was just giving it a go, and I probably less is more in that aspect, and I was probably exceeding what I needed, and I could have done a better job with it, as we all try to do it the second time round. So having said that, explain to us TRT, right? Because you mentioned something about focus mood, and I think you said the dumbest shit are a compound that doesn't aromatize. What's that? It was on a post of yours. Does that make sense what I just said?
Oh, what was the last thing I just did?
You said something about TRT.
I kind of went on a tangent, and I was being a bit of a psychonaut, or
you were. You said
I wanted to
dumbest shit, a compound that doesn't aromatize. Yeah.
I wanted to experiment to see, because like I've had instances of some low estrogen, I've had instances of high estrogen. I understand with just testosterone in general where I'm going to be at depending on my dosage of where estrogen is at. Okay. What I had done was I decided to run a TRT dose, which is 200 milligrams of testosterone cypionate weekly. And then I decided to add in like 500 milligrams of primobolan, okay, which doesn't aromatize, okay? It actually kind of acts as like a natural AI. So I'm suppressing some estrogen there already. And then in addition to that, I was taking a milligram of anastrozole every week because I wanted to see, and I was taking 50 milligrams of Winstrol, but I wanted to see like if I could realize some very dry, lean gains from suppressing or crashing my estrogen. And, what ended up happening was I basically got like mono where I needed to take a nap every like 30 minutes, just because I was just incredibly tired. I just could not stay awake, and I was like that for a couple of weeks. And you know, like normally I'm pretty smart or calculated with how I do, you know, my cycles, but this was kind of an opportunity. It was like, I've never truly crashed my estrogen to the point that some people, you know, talk about. And so I wanted to kind of experience that for myself. I did. And now I know that, yeah, I'm never going to do that again. And just like, I think the purpose behind it, though, is just to teach people like estrogen is a very important hormone in the male body. I know it's a female hormone, but in order to grow, have the mental clarity, you know, just the energy, you got to have some estrogen in your body. So these doctors are running around.
So you're not worried about the high-pitched voice. You're not worried about having a high-pitched voice.
Oh, with the increased estrogen, or like or her growing man boobs. Yeah, it's the guy. You know, it's not like, I think a lot of people would take the high-pitched voice if they didn't have to worry about gynecomastia. You have no idea how many people, you know, DM me on a regular basis and say like, "Hey, I think I'm getting gyno."
What's gyno?
Like,
what's gyno?
Gyno is like man boobs. Okay, so it's basically calcified lumps that are appearing behind the nipple gland.
The nipple,
okay?
the nipple gland.
And it starts to look coney, and so that's a mismanagement of your hormones. And then if
that was a big thing in the 80s bodybuilding, a bit in the 90s too, but they pushed it out now. Go on.
Because in the 80s they didn't have an estradiol. They didn't have these estrogen, these aromatase inhibitors available. So these guys were running, you know, testosterone and D-bol, and D-bol aromatizes at a very high rate. Okay, so your estrogen is going way up. You're growing like crazy, but the risk to start developing these, you know, calcified lumps underneath your nipples, which eventually, as you lean out, look like tits. Like that's, you know, like there's a risk there, and people are absolutely terrified of getting it. But what you got to realize is it doesn't happen overnight. Like there's very specific warning signals that would tell you that you're developing gyno, and a lot of people just confuse it with like an enlarged nipple gland or just extra fat around the breast area.
Gyno was a thing that I think even I guess when I was younger I didn't do steroids, but I trained very hard. It was because I had no interest in competing. I believed if I didn't have a sponsor, why would I need to take anything? And I was worried about that gyno thing you were talking about too, because it was quite rife around my time in the early 90s.
Yeah, and you know, today now we got the anastrozole and we got the tamoxifens and we got the pramipexels and the cabergolins, but like there's drugs out there that'll, you know.
So let's, seeing we are talking about steroids, tell me something. How is it viewed in America? Because, you know, it's still taboo here. Like, no one you probably see on my podcast, no one's really wanting to open up about steroids. And the thing is, we all know now, just like we know the Liver King, we all know, you know, what's going on here. But what I'm trying to say is, it just seems like in America, it's okay. It's, when I say okay, it's like, yeah, let's talk about it. We do it. We don't do it. This is how you should do it. We compete with it. We don't, like, everybody's, it's okay. Is that how it's always been in America?
No, it's not been like that always. I would say, like, you know, there's a lot of people who don't want to tell you just because of the legal purposes, right?
Oh, right.
A lot of people who don't want to tell you they're on steroids because if they tell you that they're on steroids, nobody will believe anything else you have to say. Like, hey, this training plan works, this diet plan works, these supplements work. They all just look at you and say, no, this is steroids doing the job. In some cases, maybe, you know, if they're running, you know, exorbitant amount of gear, but it takes away from the credibility, okay, of the things that they do. But I'd be the first one to tell you that steroids aren't going to do shit if you don't know your diet and your training. Like,
I learned that when I took a cycle, that I still had to go to the gym, I still had to eat, I still had to rest, I still had to push hard. I guess it just made me stronger and it made me recover quicker, and it just changed. I guess it was just high octane. I still had the same motor, still running the same tires. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and like, you know, I've been in the gym for like what 14 years or whatever, just consistently, and really started talking to people. And it wasn't until maybe a couple of years ago that people would even be willing to open up to talk about TRT. And I think once TRT became more of a common practice, being open to talk about steroids became more of a common practice, because I think, you know, people would hear the word steroids and they'd think, oh, you have to inject yourself. You're using needles. That's gross. Like you're a meth head. And it's like, okay, but now people are doing it in a medical sense.
Yeah.
Okay. And so people have kind of softened up to the idea of that. And so I think really the first time I started to hear people talk about gear openly just in the gym was only a couple of years ago.
Me too.
But
it seems to be opening up now.
Yeah, but we all know what's going on, you know? And I think if we were more open and transparent about it, we could probably either deter a lot of people from starting gear and making a big mistake. You know, those people who have the one cycle and it's just the worst thing that they could have done, and then they've had, you know, fertility issue, whatever. You know, we could probably deter people, or at least make people go into a cycle with a better plan.
But don't you think we have a mindset as humans that if I suffered, you can suffer, but rather than saying, look, learn from my mistakes, I guess.
Yeah. And you know, I get that, but like everything I'm trying to do out here is just like, don't make the same mistakes that I did. Like, don't go to the gym 7 days a week and do all this crap and miss out on your, you know, your growing up in your youth. Don't neglect your family. Don't neglect your friends to go to the gym. Yeah, worth it, right? Go 5 days a week, you'll be fine. Get your protein back out. But like,
no, you have to.
I want to, because by the time I've learned this, I'm in that peak phase right now, right?
You are in the peak phase, man.
I've got a very small window left, right?
You have,
and so
you've got the good window
turn
now.
back the clock with this knowledge. You know, I'd be in a much better situation. So my hope is that somebody who is 18, 20, they're starting to get into this, is like, this is what I really enjoy doing. They can learn from me or from others, and, you know, they can avoid making all these bad mistakes, and not waiting till they're 30 to realize, like, shit, what have I done? Like, I've wasted too time here.
I also love that you've also been very transparent on I don't think it's even called kickbacks, but you're saying, you know, certain people that may reward you for comments or mention. So you've been transparent on all aspects. It's not like you're sitting there trying to say, I don't get, I'm not going to make a little bit of coin. We're talking about just change. It's not going to, you still got to earn a living having a job. But the thing is, you're very transparent. You're very open. Is honesty your thing? Are you an honest guy, or are you just going to say yes because you're on the camera?
No, like, so like, I think as well, part of my problem with social media is like, everyone is pushing their SARMs, their protein powder on you, saying that like, this is the key. They're all like people on a Kellogg's box. Like, they're just sponsored people. They're trying to make $1. Fortunately, I have a good job that allows me to, you know, pay the bills at home, and then I come here and I have time to do things like this. So, you know, gaining money has never been a motivation here for me. I've had people offer too. It's like, no, I don't really want the money. The selfish part of maybe why I do some of this is like, I would like my supplements to be cheaper, but I want the supplements that I actually use to be the ones that are cheaper. So like, fortunately, you know, setting out, I was like, I take this pre-workout every single day. If I can get 10% off, that'd be great. And so,
but the other thing is, I don't know about you. Look, I'm in the coffee game, right? This is actually my coffee from a cafe I supply. But let's just say, I'll give you an example. I won't use coffee, I'll use something else. If I said to you, T Gro, I'm going to give you some free steak. And you go, steak? I go, yeah, but I cooked it yesterday, but you can have it today. It's free. You'd probably go, no, man, I like when it's cooked to eat it, let it rest, and eat it there and then. I'm happy to pay now. So what I'm saying is, even though they're probably offering you cheaper supplements or cheaper whatever, you still want it to be the good stuff. You going to go and get expired or things that don't work just for the sake of saying, I'm getting it cheap. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not here to tell anybody to waste their money on some stuff just because it was given to me.
Yeah. It's good to know.
I try to, just be as real, because like bodybuilding and weightlifting is kind of an expensive hobby. Like when you break it all down, you got a gym membership, you got the gym apparel that you have to have, you have have the weightlifting belt, and then you buy all the supplements and the vitamins. So like the nuts and bolts of it is like, yeah, it's kind of expensive to do this. So you should put your trust into, companies that, have that reputable brand. So for me, like, I think what triggers me the most is just the peptides and the SARMs, where they're constantly saying like, this is what you got to take. It's MK677 or it's this, IGF-LR3. Like these are the things that, and it's like these guys are getting a ton of kickback from the research chem sites, the Swiss chems. Like you have to just know that there's a lot more going on in the background with these people that you're looking up to. It's not these products that they're pushing on you.
So talking about peptides, what do you think of them?
I think a lot of them are dog shit.
Really? Wow. No, I'm happy to hear that. Dog shit. Right. Why you're not a fan? Let's just hammer that in.
Well, for one, we don't have like a lot of the long-term studies that we would need in order to determine if there's actual like long-term side effects. Okay. They haven't been in the game for a very long time. Look at Arnie's physique. Like if he can do that and look like that and never have taken, some of these peptides or these SARMs, okay, then why wouldn't we just stick with the stuff that we know works? So, I've tried a handful of peptides. I've had bad experiences with a couple of them. Got a PIP. They're not regulated. Like they don't give a shit about what they're, you might as well just be getting your gear from somebody who's cooking it in a bathtub. Like at the end of the day, like you don't know where it's coming from.
From a dance party. Get it from a dance party. You're saying, all right, get it from a dance party.
Like it's not coming from the right source. So like you just need to be careful, especially if you're putting it directly into your bloodstream. Like there's so much risk there.
Interesting. No, I'm glad. Look, I'll be honest with you. I was actually thinking now that you're talking about it, I've never really researched it. Give me a quick lesson on peptides. What are they?
Just amino acids, basically. They're part of, and I can't get too much into the science, to be honest.
That's all right.
It's basically just a very minor part of maybe like an anabolic that it's going to mimic, or, they have certain basically side effects that, you would benefit. Like the only thing that I've heard about and have friends that use is this BPC 157. That is the only thing that I would even consider as a peptide utilizing, just because it helps with inflammation. So,
wow.
But yeah, like I tried peptides, and I knew pretty quickly. I was like, this is not it. It's not the
No. Well, I've not tried. I've heard a lot about it. It was something big in the teens in 2011, 2012. Like it was booming around here in Australia. Like I said, we're probably 5 years behind you guys, maybe 3 years. We're not as quick to keep up with everything that's going on there. But TRT is the big talk of the town at the moment. TRT is like every second word is something like TRT, and you don't even have to bodybuild. So I guess guys just want to keep getting a hard on. I think it's all about keeping that hard on going, I guess.
You gotta continue to have that top of the line masculinity. That's what it is. But like testosterone is just such a critical hormone in the body. I think what it all boils down to is over time, natural serum levels of testosterone are declining in males. Okay. So like the 20-year-olds of 10 years ago had lower testosterone than the 20-year-olds of 20 years ago, right?
But why do you think? Why do you think, mate? Why is it like? Come on, why do you think?
People will tell you it's the water, it's the food, right? The toxins and the chemicals and the soaps that we put on their bodies. Personally, like what I think it is to me is like we have a very easy life. We don't get put into fight or flight situations. Like just think of like how maybe back in the day, like you'd probably have to, fucking tough it out at some point in time. You would need higher levels of testosterone to kind of have that aggression, to kind of push through maybe some of the struggles that you would have, exposing yourself to elements that you are uncomfortable with. I think it has a lot to do with it, and a lot of time spent indoors nowadays, where kids aren't going out, they're getting their vitamin D3, running around. So I think all of that, just lifestyle contributes to it.
I tend to agree, and I have I have a simple saying. I think if you don't use it, you lose it. So I think I don't think. And what I'm trying to say by that is, sometimes I'm not in the mood to go to the gym, but I go, and sometimes I don't have partners and I'm not in the mood, but I still have to work the bastard. So sometimes I think I don't want to lose the motherfucker. Come on, let's dance. Let's dance together. So we have a bit of a dance. And that was putting it nicely. I just don't, and tell me about the importance of bloods, getting your bloods done as well. You were talking about.
I actually got my blood done today. And I just think that, like, for people, for one, that are doing TRT, they need to get their bloods done. They just need to be keeping an eye on that closely. And it's probably going to happen if you're under a doctor's care. But the one thing I don't see happening is people who are, maybe new into anabolics and stuff like that. They're the ones not looking at their blood, because it's kind of like if I don't look, it's not a problem.
I'm that type.
That's
great.
It's like, you gotta, you have like a leak or something inside of your wall, and you're like, I don't want to tear that wall down because I know I'm gonna have a leak and I'm gonna have to fix it. So I'm just gonna ignore it, right? One day that rooster's gonna come to crow, and you're gonna have a problem. So getting people just the information of like how accessible and easy it is to do. Also, it's really kind of fascinating to know what's going on in your body and what your bloods are looking like. So today, like I said, I went and got my bloods done, and it was just a light hormone panel just to see kind of where my estrogen is at, and I'm taking HCG to try to get my fertility back. So that's the next goal for me, is like.
So how do you? Is your fertility? Is it because of the look with when you say your fertility is low? Obviously, you've checked your probably sperm count or whatever it's called, or maybe your blood count. I don't know exactly, but what I'm alluding to is it because of your nativity before of what you've done or what you do?
Yes and no. Like when I went into, like when you do exogenous testosterone over time, could be 3 weeks, could be 6 months, you will shut down your natural testosterone production. Okay. When you do that, you will have, in your bloods, you will have a low range for luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone. Those are the signals to the testicles that say produce like fertilized sperm. Okay. So when you're doing this exogenous test, you're bypassing all of that feedback loop. Okay. And then it will eventually basically be sterile. Okay. The way it's similar to how birth control works in women. You're injecting the hormone into them. They bypass the mechanism, this whole feedback loop that makes them fertile. Okay. Same thing with the male. But in order to recover, you have to take some specific compounds, or you have to go off and you have to go natural again. And so you can do that. Yeah, with HCG. So like that's kind of the kicker. So it's just another thing.
Did you say it's called SHBG?
HCG, so human chorionic gonadotropin.
Oh, right, because I thought it was SHBG.
That's sex hormone. That's sex hormone.
Yeah, what's this? What's that? What's the sex hormone? Blah blah blah.
Basically, when testosterone goes into the body, a lot of it gets tied up in SHBG. Okay, and so the reason why that's important is because when it is tied up in SHBG, it is not available as free testosterone to help like build muscle and things like that. So that's the reason why a lot of people get their SHBG checked or their free test, because you can have basically higher levels of total testosterone where you might be in the reference range, but you have a elevated SHBG, and therefore you have clinically low test.
Do you think, like, again, with TRT, this is just me, very naive, and the podcast is just me asking questions with the guest. Do you think that TRT, you've kind of, is it the same thing about knowing how much, again, I don't know much about it, how much you should use and let your body be natural as well, let it have its moments? Because I just feel that, like you said something about 20 years ago or 40 years ago, and I said something about using it, losing it. I just feel you just got to make sure you're running that line where your body can still do what it wants to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or else you lose it completely.
And unfortunately, TRT is not that kind of a situation where it's like you can do both. You're either doing one or you're doing the other. You can try to cycle between test naturally and then test externally. But it's those periods of time where your natural test kicks back on post-cycle. Those are going to get longer and longer and longer. And that whole time frame, you're not going to feel good. So the good news is, like, what I've come across pretty recently is there are forms outside of Clomid, that can boost your natural testosterone without shutting off your fertility. So the big hang up with TRT, specifically in young males, is that, hey, if I'm doing TRT, I'm not going to be able to have kids unless I'm doing HCG and I'm lucky. But they now have enclomiphene citrate, which is basically a daily oral pill. Okay, so you're not even having to do injections, which is going to boost your natural testosterone production. And some people have actually been able to go outside of the reference range. So the reason why it's exciting is you keep your fertility and you don't have these nasty side effects of Clomid, which was the kind of the original TRT that let you maintain your fertility. Clomid can mess with your vision over time. Like you'll feel fatigued, you feel nauseated, you can get blurry vision. And clomiphene, I know they sound the same, but they're different. Does not have those side effects. So that's actually the next step, probably here in about 3 weeks for me, is switching from exogenous testosterone to enclomiphene and seeing if somebody who's been on TRT for 4 or 5 years can make that switch. And then I'll really know if I've, use it or lose it, right?
So you really dive in deep, learning, understanding. You're turning every page over. You're highlighting everything, aren't you? You're not. There's no stone unturned with you, in a sense.
I think earlier in my day, it was just full bore, like bull in a china shop.
Yeah.
But today, there's a lot of thought that goes into this stuff before we make any adjustments. So, and it's just it's interesting to me.
Yeah, but so why? I've noticed you sit on your couch or whatever. You've even done one recently in the car. So why do you do it when you know? I know there's some people out there that are really appreciating it, and I'm sure some people think, well, why do it? And you probably got a lot of haters. How do you work out that obstacle to feel like you should keep doing it, and why? And what's your why with that?
I really like watching other people succeed, for one.
Okay, that's good.
And I think that there's, you're talking about TRT. Hey, I'm kind of a newbie here. I don't really know much about it. I think that's part of the problem is a lot of people just don't know that much about it. They don't know it's an option to them. So, you go to a doctor, you say, hey, I'm not feeling good. I'm tired. I'm sad. Maybe I've got, mental fog. What do? They prescribe you an SSRI, so an antidepressant, okay?
Oh, yeah.
Antidepressants don't work for everybody, and usually it's the worst thing you could give them.
Fucking nice.
They actually have low testosterone or certain hormone imbalance going on that your GP didn't bother to check. Okay, well, put the power in people's hands of, hey, you can go get your blood work done by yourself here. Okay, take a look at your hormones. You can go get your testosterone and your hormone replacement therapy here. Okay, and you can feel like a new person. I went through that cycle of SSRIs. Bad idea, didn't work for me. Found testosterone, and then it really changed my life as far as like my mental attitude, my brain fog, clarity, like a lot. So just knowing how much of a change it was for me, I want to make sure that people have that availability to them, but also know exactly what they're going to get into if they think that's the right treatment for them.
I think, I love it. Like I said, I think that's why I've been following you and listening to you. Some of it sounds French because I don't know the whole science and the terminologies, but it seems like the guys that are invested in their bodybuilding and care enough to get it right. And I'm sure if I do decide to do something in a cycle form, I'm going to contact you to help me out. But tell me something. Fucking no. Our relationship will continue. Don't worry from here, because I think you have a lot more to offer than just this podcast with us. So, if I asked you, what do you do for a living? Yeah, what is your job?
I basically work in supply chain and e-commerce. So it's working from home, but working for a pretty big company to do that.
What e-commerce supplies? So in other words, people buying online, clicking here, buying that, transport, distribution, the whole thing. Is that correct?
Logistics, yeah.
Logistics. Okay. All right. Well, that's okay. And you're not a personal trainer, are you?
No, not a personal trainer. It's people have asked me if I will do personal training for them or if I will do coaching online. I'd probably be just doing them a disservice. But it's like, if I can tell you some things to make you better, if I can help you, I will. And I'm happy to do that for free.
Do you think it's a bit like myself, because I did do a personal training course, but I just did it. I had a good job at the time. Do you not do it because you don't want to take away the fact that it's a fun sport for you and you don't want to make it a profession? Is that the thing?
Yeah, I think part of me would like to. I think that's why I didn't ever get into bodybuilding, is because like, this is a hobby for me. This is something fun. And as soon as I turn it into like a sport, something I have to do, that's when I'll likely lose interest. So that's why I've always kind of non-competed. But like, I really enjoy helping other people. I make a point of it to really be detailed and communicate with everybody that sends me a DM, ask me a question, happy to talk through that stuff with them. And I get a sense of satisfaction of being able to help somebody out. So while it's like, oh, are you totally selfless? No, I'm not, because I enjoy and get a rush from being able to help somebody achieve their goals.
Well, also, you are Mr. Reviewer of Reviews. I mean, you even reviewed your headphones, man. I mean, fuck. What day you review? Could you? I might get you to review my coffee brand and my coffee, and I'll get you to review my open up my cupboard and my clothing line. I'll get you a review of reviews.
Yeah, and that's like, going back to the start of this, it was like, hey, I've taken a bunch of these products. Maybe I should just tell people what I really think of them. Because like, if you go online nowadays, it's like you can't trust a review, because you're like Joe M from wherever, and it's like, okay, this is probably a bot that just said this, and it's like got and whatnot.
Yeah.
So like, I was like, hey, let's put a real face in front of people and talk about a product and give a real review. And if I don't like it, I'm gonna say I don't like it.
No, I like it. Like I said, I can tell I can tell where you're coming from, and I think you're doing. Look, like I said, jokingly about the review part, but like I said, I guess, two more questions before we get into the workout part. I guess you do care you are relatively a serious guy, but not too serious. Like, I think you're just a matter of fact, and if you don't like it, tough luck. And you can't get me to lie, even if I try, but I'll offend you, so that's okay. So, are you ever going to compete?
No, there's no way I'm ever going to compete. It's just not going to happen for me.
Okay.
I've got a daughter. She's 2. I'm spending a lot of time focusing on her, development and trying to be there as much as I can. You want
a girlfriend or wife? Girlfriend, wife, fiance. What is she?
I got a wife and I got a 2-year-old daughter.
Oh,
It's just like, yeah, you break the clock down, man. There's 24 hours in a day. Okay,
yeah,
so you do a 12-hour work day.
No wonder you did it on the couch. That's where you sleep at night, on the couch. And no wonder in your car. That's where you sleep, in your car. God, no wonder.
Yeah, exactly. See, so like you break the clock down, man, and it's like, all right, so you do 12 hours of work, and then let's say if you wanted to get 8 hours of sleep, and you wanted to train for 3 hours, okay, that gives you 1 hour to connect with your family. And it's like, so something's got to give, right?
100%, man, 100%.
A lot of that comes from sleep. I will be, I'll be straight. A lot of it comes out of the sleep budget. But some of it has to come out of the training budget as well, so you got to figure out how to prioritize and balance all these things.
Nah, it sounds, mate.
Success lives in powerful bodies. And the powerful bodies are fueled by the best.
threeog.shop.
You sound like a good old-fashioned American boy. All right, let's go over the body. Let's. What we do here is I'm going to tell you a body part. I just want you to tell me what's your favorite exercise if you train it, and sets and reps. Okay, so we're going to start with traps. Do you train traps?
No. I guess I do with shrugs. But I think like you train traps with everything. Like it's so easy to train traps. If you want to build traps, go put on a golf bag, a 60-pound golf bag, and walk a golf course. Like I think that's how I built it up. I think traps are also genetic slightly, like calves. But if I was going to build them in the gym, it would be with heavy shrugs on a Smith machine, and that would be like 4 sets. Yep. And it would be like, I would probably go like 14, 12, 10, 8.
14.
Minimal rest. Just squeezing them up at the top.
All right, I like that. Okay, let's go delts. Let's go with side delts. We'll start with side. What do you do for side delt? What exercise, reps, and sets?
Yeah, so I like the side laterals. I mean, like that's easy to do, especially on a cable. You put that cable machine like hip height, you stand vertical, you step out just a step or two, and then you just start, spamming those. That's for me, when I'm doing those, that's 4 sets, 15 reps, and the concentric, just that on the way down, making sure that there's tension there. That's the most important piece.
Okay, what about front delts?
Front delts, I honestly, like, with all shoulders, I don't get too hung up in, side, front, rear delt. Like, it's shoulders. But nothing beats a good seated shoulder press, in my opinion, with dumbbells.
Ah, yeah, seated. Oh, seated. Yeah, okay. And how many sets and reps?
For seated, that's probably 3 to 4 sets, and I'm doing 8 by 8 by 8 by 8.
Oh, nice. All right. Look, we don't want to look. I know you said about the shoulders, but let's go with back. Do you do like back delts? What would you do? Would you do cables? Would you do bent over flies? What would you do?
So like lat pull down is the key. Like
really
to get width in the back, lat pull down. So like what I'm doing right now is I'm doing like 8 behind the neck.
Yep.
And that like kind of warms it up for me. And then I lean back and I pull. Obviously you've got your thumbs over the bar.
Yeah.
But like after I have those 8 behind my neck and start pulling the front lats, that's when I really feel my lats engage. Like I need that little bit to warm them up. And so for those, that's probably something like 4x12. I really enjoy just for lat pull downs, just doing as many as you possibly can until you're gassed. Even if you're having to like kind of lean back into it a little bit to get those partial reps done, like I feel like that's when I get the most pump out of it.
Okay. So was that a back exercise or was that the rear delts? What did we do?
That was the back exercise.
All right, the back exercise. All right, look, well, obviously shoulder press, you were saying, and like I said,
I was gonna say for rear delts, lying on it's a rear delt fly where you're lying on a bench, right, and then you're turning your wrist outward. Okay.
Yes.
I think I got that from like Mountain Dog or something like that. Where I think he puts out a lot of really good stuff. But yeah, getting those twists in there and doing like a superset of those like front lateral raises and side lateral raises, and supersetting those together for like 12 reps each for 3 sets.
3 sets, I like it. Okay, what about chest?
It's bench press, man. It's bench press. Like, yeah.
Flat bench or incline? Which one?
The flat bench.
Barbell or dumbbells? Bar or dumbbell?
It's barbell. It's barbell flat bench. Like
everyone's trying to run away from this phenomena. The phenomena of the past.
Staple. It's the staple of working out. Like
everyone's trying to get rid of the staple bench press, mate. What's going on?
I love the bench press, man. You can't pull me off of it. Now that is 100% the best exercise for building strength, in my opinion. Like that is where you're going to develop.
It's like you said about Arnie. I mean, he's been able to keep what he's got for so long. I mean, wouldn't you look at the past and current rewards?
Yeah. Just to break it all down, like I think people just make this shit way too complicated sometimes.
They do.
It's like we need to stop stressing the details. Just get in the gym and just lift weights. It's easy.
Lift weights.
It's not that hard.
All right. So, but good old fashioned bench press. How many sets, reps?
Oh man. There's so many ways to do it. There's the 5x5. I'm sure you've heard of that. 5 sets, 5 reps, right?
Yep.
That's good. I really like doing 4 sets, and then I do 8 reps, 6 reps, 6 reps. And so I keep it relatively low in the volume.
But heavy.
But heavy in a lot of intensity. And then my goal is to really like have that first set of 8 and that first set of 6 be some of the heaviest lifts that I can do.
Oh man, awesome! I like it. I like, mate. That. But if I take you back to how benches used to be, like I mean the pins. I mean I don't know what you call them, the bench, and you put your bar across. They used to be like that, but once upon a time they were like this, and you had to get a mate to pull one off. But if you didn't cop one in the head because you took the bar off and forgot the other side wasn't off, that were the good old fashioned bench days, you know.
I actually have a scar like underneath my eye where I took a barbell from one of those like weeder benches from the 60s that I got from my grandpa.
Yeah,
my brother had like I had pulled my weight off the side. My brother didn't pull his weight off, and it came up and me in the face.
Yeah, that's
so like
welcome to bodybuilding.
Yep. Even with the Olympic stuff, like if I have a 10 and a 10 on each side, it's like I'm gonna do one at a time here and like going around.
No, it's still it's hilarious. This probably could be another time we could do something, like maybe recap later on in 2024. We'll definitely keep in contact, but it just makes me laugh how people see these Smith machines. And they try to match the weights on both sides. And I said, you can have it all on one side. It does not matter. They're like, hang on, what are you telling me? You're saying I can have a 20 kilo on that side and I put a 10 kilo on that side, and that balances again. It's a Smith machine, mate. It's just pushing it up and down, buddy. It's not free weight. It's not free weight.
You can definitely do that with the leg press and fuck with people. They're like, why do I know? Are you trying to work your right leg? It's like, no, like it's all the same, man. Don't worry about it.
It is. I do it too, man. I'm that one guy goes, I just load up and he goes, what are you doing? Isn't that going to, work your other side? Is it going to fall over? I go, bro, it's one machine. Don't worry about it. Okay, what about bicep?
Oh, man, that's conflicting. I've got so many that I really enjoy.
I got even
Spider curl is like
spider curls. Yeah.
spider curl is money. But I'm falling in love with machine preacher curl.
Yeah.
The reason why is just like the amount of tension that you can put on the bicep, specifically in the negative, is like there's nothing like it. Just like trying to hold out as long as you can as you're going down. And I think that's really what stimulates a lot of the growth is the negative. So I think both are really excellent exercises. But yeah, in the flavor of the month has been the machine preacher over the spider.
All right. How many sets and reps?
For that, probably another 4x15.
Well, 4x15. Okay. And let's go triceps.
Cable, tricep, kickback, without a doubt. So, hitting the back parallel with the ground.
Mm-hmm.
What's that?
Yeah. You took cable kickback. Yeah, is that what I'm assuming?
Yep. Yeah. So getting parallel with the ground, your back, and really squeezing that tricep at the top. I mean, you don't need a lot of weight, and just you don't even need a handle. Just grab that little S hook or carabiner or whatever it is.
Yep.
Pop that thing back. I mean, you can get such a great pump out of that. So let's try some kickback. And those are probably like 4x20.
Yeah.
I love burning out the muscle. So like all the core lifts are by 8, and then all the auxiliary or the isolated lifts, those are like 15, 20 reps.
I did something. There used to be a machine once upon a time back in the early 90s, but you know when you're doing cable over your head for triceps, you know, the cable raises, whatever you want to call it. But I actually got on my knees and then I bent over. I found a bench and I put my arms on the bench and I was just doing it like that.
Okay. Yeah.
Try that out.
Yeah. Honestly, I know people enjoy that, but anything overhead tricep press, I do not do anymore.
Why is that?
I found out that like my shoulder just does not agree with it. And so it's one of the only movements that I completely avoid.
But what I was saying to you is, I mean, I guess you've got to get it into position so it can affect your shoulder. But I'm saying like you actually get on your knees, you're bending over like you're going to pray, and you actually rest your hands, you're resting that on the bench and you're coming over. So with the cable.
Okay.
But anyway,
I'll try that for sure. Yeah,
try that out. If because what it's saying is you're actually locking your elbows onto the bench, and you can use that as your stability to push out.
Yep.
Rather than using the whole, your whole shoulder and your arm in. You know what I mean? You can actually rest it on the bench.
I'm a huge fan of taking out momentum. If it means that you need to like place your tricep against something or like.
Well, it's placing your tricep against the bench. You're on your knees, your head's down on the bench. Like make sure you don't get someone's sweaty patch in your face, and you just go like that, and you just keep. It's like I said, and these are just locked in on the bench, so you can push down and like just because you can see the indentations of your elbow. So you said those. Oh yeah, you said 20. Do you do forearms? I just sort of asked.
Oh yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like weight plate, and I don't even know what they're called, but just like anything with a weight plate where you're holding it and you're just kind of twisting it like this, like up and down.
Yeah.
And then supersetting that with like a seated, where you're just you're basically just curling in your wrists.
Yeah.
Like some 80-pound dumbbells.
Yep.
Just do those back and forth. Continue to spam those. And,
how many sets and reps on that you reckon?
Get pumped. So that is like the weighted plate that's like 25 to 30.
Yeah.
And then it's probably about 20 to 25 for the seated as well. And so if you can work your way up to a 45-pound plate and do 30 reps of that, you'll have some fucking massive forearms.
Yeah, I know. There's nothing like meaty forearms. Let me tell you. Abs. What do you do for abs?
Nothing.
Yes, okay. All right, that's all right. You do nothing.
What do you do for cardio? Nothing. No.
I haven't got that question.
Hey, just for abs, like the one thing I've noticed is you can put on a bunch of weight for an ab weighted machine, and like you're gonna build your serratus doing that. Like you're not really gonna get the ab development that you want, or you're gonna end up pushing your abs out more, making your gut look a little more distended.
Yeah.
So if I am doing abs, it's like hanging leg raises, knee raises. It's calisthenic movements, nothing weighted.
Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah, you're right, and I think, but as well, it's relative around the diet shedding time. You know what I mean? Like ripping up.
It's all diet, and
it's all diet. Sure. What about quads?
Oh, that's easy, man. Squat. It's all squat. Like I squat for quads.
Squat for quads.
Yep. And like my leg extensions are good too. But like, I mean, I feel like I'm working out the whole leg with a squat. And I guess I probably shouldn't call it a quad workout, but I love squatting so much.
Yeah, no, I actually, I've been doing a lot of hack squats and a few other things, and leg raises. But squats, which I love training legs, squats has always been like watching a scary movie. I'm not good at watching scary movies. Squats to me, as soon as I know someone says let's do squats, it's like I'm ready to go to hell now. Like I'm scared. I'm scared. And the funny thing is, it's like, but you have to just go through the first one. Once you do your first squat, you go, all right, I think we're ready now, man, let's go. But from far, you go, no, not squats. Like for some reason, you become a weak bastard. You push everything heavy, you're to failure, and then you go, squats? Oh my God, I don't think I can do it.
Hey, for me, it's squats after like a quick leg extension workout. Like squats is next. I'm not saving squats for the end. If squats are at the end of my workout, no.
Well, with squats is with squats, I when you get a plate of food and the shittiest vegetable that's there, you think I'll eat that first, get it the fuck out of the way. That's squats for me. I just go, let's get this let's get it out of the fucking way.
That's a good mindset to have. Yeah. That's why I work out in the morning, because it's like I want to get this shit knocked out and done with.
Yeah.
And I don't have an excuse later in the day to not work out.
I have a million excuses. Hammies. What about hammies?
Lying leg curl. For me, love lying leg curl. That's 4 by 20. Yep.
Okay. Did you see my latest RDL that I did on TikTok? I don't know if you saw it, but have a look at it. But I'm not in shape, by the way. But I actually got that from a bodybuilder at the moment. I'm like, I don't want to take credit, but I'd never seen it before done. And he uses a Smith machine to do RDLs. He uses a Smith machine to do RDLs, and it's not the way you think. And his name is what is his name? Milos Sanchez is training this guy called Regan. Yeah. He was just in Italy. This guy, looks amazing.
Yeah, just got. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
I got his RDL exercise off him, so you can have a look at.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
But I'm claiming it's mine. So until they hear this podcast, everyone thinks I came up with it. All right, until now.
Hey, if I have RDL exercises popping up on my TikTok, my wife will clock me across the room. So,
all right. So hammies, how many sets and reps was it for the hammy?
That's 4 by 20.
4 by 20. Okay.
I think legs, man. That's 20. It's 20 or more. Like
it is.
Going hard.
What about calves?
Doesn't matter. You can train them all you want. They won't fucking grow.
Oh, don't say that, man. No way. No, don't
Genetic.
just say that. No, that's a myth. Apparently, not you. That's bullshit, mate.
For calves, like the standing calf raise, like if you can get a machine, a good one, I really do those. And then it's really about the time that you spent with your heel down, and then just getting parallel rather than this movement, right? If I can just get down to parallel and hold that and then come back down slow, because a lot of people just like to bounce off their Achilles tendon and they can do like the whole weight stack. I guarantee if you stop at each of those points, the amount of weight you're going to be able to do on a calf press or calf raise is going to go down, by half. But
how many sets? How many sets and reps?
Probably like 3 by 25 or 2 by 25. It's just usually after that second set, it's like my last workout or my last exercise, and my legs are shaking at that point uncontrollably, so I'm out. But yeah, I try to go 3 by 25.
Well, look, I'm a person. Really, I'm a believer, and I like to do visualization. And I believe up until this year, I've believed that my calves will never grow. So now I've decided they're going to grow. So I'm going to train them. They're growing, buddy. They're going to grow.
Hey, I believe in you.
Fuck genetics. Fuck genetics. Yeah. Right. I'm going to make them grow because everyone reckons, because you don't hit them hard, they don't grow. So they're going to grow. They're going to grow. What about tibialis? Okay, tibialis.
I don't even know what a tibialis is.
Wow, man! I've fucking got the T Gro that knows everything. What's tibialis? Is the front part of the calf, your front leg, under your knee.
Shin?
Under your knee, the bit between your knee and your shin. That's tibialis, bro. Yeah.
I just hope that's getting worked out through all the other shit that I do.
Now, you don't seem the type of guy that does a gluteus maximus. Have you got a glutes exercise?
Hip thrust, maybe.
Hip thrust.
I did hip thrust for about 8 to 12 weeks in a workout plan, and that is humbling. I will tell you right now.
It's humbling, is it?
The female equivalent, like the equivalent is like a man who can put 315 on the bench press. If there's a girl out there doing a hip thrust of 315, that's the male equivalent right there. Because personally,
I tell you what,
it took me a long time to get there. It's such a hard exercise.
When I see some of the weights that these girls are doing, maybe they should bring this into the Olympics as a powerlifting.
I couldn't believe how hard it was. I was like, it's obviously no, they're not playing around. So there's a lot of females out there that are outlifting me that are just in my gym locally, on the hip thrust.
Maybe it should become an Olympic sport because, man, I tell you what, Ironman, maybe strongman, hip thrust strongman or whatever it is.
Yeah,
right,
for sure.
This is there. Let's get it in there, man. Well, this is the point where you get to tell people, let us know where they can find you. So if you look into your camera, it's like I said, and T Gro, where can people find you? And you can you can also mention your gym because I'm sure the Americans are going to want to come and tell you off in person.
Oh, yeah.
That's if they want to come to Kansas.
So, like, you can find me on Instagram and TikTok. TikTok's where I do everything. Instagram is where I upload all my PG content. Yeah. But that's at tgro_Ty. And then I also have recently partnered with Valhalla Vitality as a hormone replacement therapy, testosterone replacement therapy online clinic. And so I have a code there at T Gro. So that's where you can get enclomiphene therapy. So if you're somebody who is actually interested in, hey, is TRT right for me? Reach out to me and I'd be happy to kind of walk you through personally just, what's going on with you. And if I thought that was something that you should pursue, be happy to do that. And then as far as the gym, it's a local gym in Kansas called The Foundation. It's an amazing place. Yeah. If you ever have an opportunity, I guess if I was going to sell you on Kansas, it would be to come down to The Foundation and meet the awesome people that, work out there. It's a really good group of people. And they also have a couple of English bulldogs that run around there. And just kind of hang out in the gym. So bit of a different one.
Well, mate, all I can say is it's been a pleasure. I kind of, like I said, you are the first non-body personal trainer competitor on our podcast, but the reason I'm so blessed and thankful that you're on is this is literally ground roots to, I mean, I'm happy if, C-Bum's on here, but I'm just as happy that you were on here, T Gro, honestly.
Yeah. Well, I love what you're doing. I love that you're bringing on people that, they have their own personal opinions, right? They have their own thoughts. They're not just sitting around regurgitating what they can read on a Reddit forum. Like, the real people.
And they love the sport. They love our sport. It's a sport we love, I guess,
Yeah. So I appreciate what you're doing, and I really appreciate you guys having me on.
Thank you so much, man. It's been absolutely our pleasure.